Terror in Mumbai coordinated attacks on India's financial capital.
They wanted anyone with British or American passports.
Scores killed with bullets and bombs.
Hear the army running through the hotel. Just heard all the gunfire and heard all the blasts.
And Thailand's Prime Minister digs in as protesters close another airport. Hello, Nidhi Dutt with ABC News for Australia Network. Tourists fled for their lives or hid where they could as terrorists rampaged through India's biggest city, looking to kill anyone with a Western passport. At least 100 people died in Mumbai, scores more were injured, but the resulting chaos and panic means the toll could be much higher. The attackers, armed with automatic weapons and grenades, launched coordinated attacks on hotels, restaurants and a train station, all popular with foreigners. Correspondent Michael Coggan is on the ground in Mumbai, close to the Oberoi, one of the two hotels that was attacked. He joins us on the phone now. Mike, what's the latest information you have?
Well, Nidhi, this continuing story has taken another twist.
And that's our coverage for now on the terrorist attacks in Mumbai. Still to come in this bulletin, the latest from Bangkok, a deadly blast near the US Embassy in Kabul, and the day's latest financial figures. You're watching ABC News for Australia Network. Prime Minister Gordon Brown is billing this G20 summit as Bretton Woods Mark II. He's called for the scrapping of the 1944 mandate and the establishment of a new economic framework under the G20 umbrella. World leaders are at a crossroads, but whichever way they choose to go, one thing's for sure. This global financial crisis has exposed a tectonic shift of power. The West is now turning to Asian giants like China to keep the global economy moving. 28 days, 830,000 polling stations, 714 million ballots. The world's largest democracy has voted. And India's Congress United Progressive Alliance coalition has defied pre-election predictions and now stands just 11 seats shy of a majority in Parliament. President Zardari is caught between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, he needs to prove to the international community that Pakistan is a trustworthy ally in the war against terror. On the other, he's desperate to be seen as a leader working hard to preserve the country's sovereignty from external political influences. But as the Taliban creeps closer to the capital, keeping all parties happy may become an increasingly difficult challenge. Education is big business in Australia. Every year, overseas students contribute $5 billion to the national economy. Here, education is bigger than wheat, and it's a sector the country cannot afford to lose. But Australia faces two big challenges: bringing more students in and keeping those that are already here satisfied. Former Australian Prime Minister Sir Robert Menzies once described the Royal Flying Doctors Service as the single greatest contribution to the settlement of Australia's outback. For many people here, the flying doctors are the only thing they've ever known of healthcare. The service probably visits an area like this once or twice a year. But for the times when the doctors and nurses aren't around to help, they make sure communities are equipped with the knowledge and technology to help themselves. There's no denying tougher times are ahead. Many labels will see sharp falls in profit, margins will be cut, and bottom lines will become an even bigger preoccupation. But despite the doom and gloom, one thing's for sure. There's nothing like arming yourself with a little optimism in readiness for a return to the good times. And there's definitely a city skyline revolution underway, and it's not just happening in Beijing. 10 years ago, structures like this was what virtual reality was made of. Now, I'm standing on the 88th floor of the Eureka Tower, the tallest vantage point in the Southern Hemisphere. From here, you can see how Melbourne is evolving, from its traditional low-set grid-like structure to its urban development and outward sprawl. This is daring design, but it's also symbolic of a bigger, wider change. the modernization of Asia. After pursuing Rio Tinto for the past 18 months, BHP Billiton has effectively ended the raid on its rival, closing the book on what would have been Australia's biggest corporate takeover. The mining giant says worsening market conditions and Rio Tinto's high debts meant the deal wasn't in the best interests of its shareholders. Di Bain reports.
And now for rock and roll of a quite different order, Nidhi Dutt's back with the finance news.
Quite a different order indeed, Jim. Let's have a look at how the markets are doing. In Japan, the Nikkei finished in the red, driven down by falling bank shares. The Thai set finished well down. The New Zealand top 50 followed the regional trend, while blue chips led a fall in South Korea. In Australia, the ASX 200 fell. China's CBN 600 surged as bargain hunters bought up energy stocks there. Hong Kong's Hang Seng lost 0.75% and India's BSE Sensex ended lower, while the Jakarta Composite was down after a day of thin trading. In the United States, the Dow and Nasdaq have opened with slight moves in either direction, while in London, the FTSE is trading almost 2% weaker. To currencies, and the US dollar is weaker against most of the major currencies in the region. It's stronger against the Indian rupee, steady against the Singaporean dollar. To commodities, gold's buying $746 an ounce and oil's fetching just under $54 a barrel. And that's all for the finance. Back to you, Jim. And that's all for this bulletin. I'm Nidhi Dutt. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with pictures of a new arrival at Germany's Hamburg Zoo. Bye for now.